Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Political Minute with Colin Dawson. I'm sorry for calling you all here at a late night hour if anybody ever even watches this. It's about 1:53 a.m. About 11 o'clock, I heard about the bombing in Nashville. Terrorist bombing. Took out a city block. They had a motorhome Winnebago thing. Said it probably was, well, whatever. Um, Fertilizer bomb. I had a whole bunch of stuff go through my head when I watched it about 3 hours ago. Probably needed to outline something or take a note or something else. Um, this is just everything with Civil War and people trying to get it to start. But due to the fact there's exoestrogen in everybody's stuff, unless it's a woman, you're not really going to have anything. And honestly, wherever it is, I think there was a woman behind it. Even if a guy put it there, it's God's voice on it. Told everybody in 15 minutes after he called the police to get everybody out. Um, Honestly, I don't really care. I've heard a dime a dozen every semester from any person that I was around that if you ever want to just get back at anything at these rednecks from NASCAR land or anything else, which Seattle's always on saying NASCAR this, whatever it is. If you have a motorhome, traveling Winnebago, have done NASCAR, football, or any of those racist sports they're putting on people because you're not supposed to play sports. And I've met a lot of people from Seattle because we're probably, I don't care, the second biggest, if not the biggest, underground grunge garage band network place out there and in Knoxville. And all that they do is they hate Nashville. It is the epitome of racism and everything else on it. It is what everything has been made for and has came up for and has done in every single way to do everything, especially with country music. And it's very well known that we have a lot of people that say they're the lineage of Jesus. And the main wife that is known of, which I think I might have made a text message to myself or something else, or else just quipped it the other day, like 2, 3 days ago, out there right before Christmas. And it's like, yeah, everybody knows this because Pope John Paul II separated the Mary that came in to wash Jesus' feet with her hair, and he threw her back out to prostitution and everything else as a punishment for wanting to be with a Jewish person, which basically shows that he is an espionage agent against Israel and everything and isn't a real Jew. People use that around here, especially people who say they have their lineage of Jesus. I've had a girl, there's this owned by her family, thrown out in front of the Cedar Bluff Starbucks. They roughed her up a little bit, did everything she didn't bruise. That you know how to hit a woman, you know how to hit a man, and not leave anything. Threw her out with her bed linens, everything else on her self there, saying that I've been over there and don't even know where they live at. Just know that they go to the same high school with me and don't know where they live at. Mom worked at Oak Ridge, everything else. Very high up Nazi family. Supported and made for Christian propaganda here in support of Christians since they were basically persecuted in every way, and to change the United States language over what Christianity meant and Christian and living underneath Christian and why Jesus and how it was used. Technicolor Dreamcoat. Honestly, I could see this being some sort of big conspiracy with them and everything, but they're just going to say it's simple abolitionist extremists still living, which mostly do inhabit California. They did hang a bunch of people in the 80s. Most of them were failed politicians that never lived up to it, but they started hanging a couple from small towns and taking them into the Los Angeles underground and stuff. They made a SWAT episode out of it, and I was like, oh, that's that thing my grandfather looked up in real but true cases. And it's like, this is a treat for you to keep underneath and know how criminology works. Didn't have any pictures, just went over the crime report and everything else with me with it and everything. And honestly, this is just a retaliation for whatever it is up north, saying whatever. And I'm not worried about, the blue coming in here, because that's what happened. The red came in, and, it's like, if you live in this part of the country, you're worthless. You're the problem with everything. Blue's going to come in here, and it's going to look like the old Confederacy and be Democrat again. Red will come in the upper parts out here. Now, I've listened to so many people that if you just want to get rid of somebody, you just need to have a motorhome or a Winnebago or something else and bring it down here. And that's all they ever live in or anything else. Get an Airbus, an Airstreamer, everything. And we can get rid of all these pieces of shit because they're just racist and everything. And it's like, I guess I didn't have Hootie and the Blowfish on enough because somehow or another I found out that they were listening to my cell phone here probably. I really do expect a knock on my door any day now from like people, and if it's local, anybody, I will just laugh my ass off and be like, come back with a warrant, and I'll try and slam it as hard as I can. If they put their foot or hand in the door, I hope I break it. And it's like, if you actually sit there and just hold up that and be like, you're actually gonna let me read it? Cool. And I'll take a highlighter and just be like, I need a lawyer for this word, this word, this word. But this is just a coordinated effort by basically every single war criminal group, because that's what it was going north into it. And they're just coming south here. And honestly, the majority of my dimes a dozen are always with these one or two possible principality groups that are like, we're still at war with World War II. France is no longer part of the World War II allies, and neither is Holland, because they've absorbed their principalities back into them. They are against anyone who still stands with that, which is one of the reasons why the EU and BritX is happening and other stuff like that. And, it's just ridiculous in and of itself. And when Washington, D.C. becomes a state, it will become, it'll have to be given over as a principality area with everything that comes up from Roman legends and everything. And I really don't care. Everybody's like, it'll just be looked at as either a racist KKK thing or else an abolition extremist atheist group that came down here saying that they were going to find all the homeless hoes of Jesus and blow up their family and get rid of all the racist cocksuckers. And it'll be swept under like that when this is basically a very coordinated effort by entities of the Spanish-American War that we still have here, that I know locally because they busted my chops when I was little, saying I'd never be smarter than them. And I'd just be given over to mysticism and destroying everything. What's the other thing? Something incredibly stupid here. World War One, World War Two, pretty much everything after there has just been cleanup after it, or else whenever we finally get seduced away into that other group. And then we wake up and find out we're either Nazis, the Japanese, or some sort of new thing. And it is absolutely ridiculous with what has happened here. And I am really not trying to belittle the situation. But as soon as they mentioned it as a motorhome or a Winnebago, I was like, everybody should have seen this coming. As much as they say that we're all monitored here, have DNA laser scanners that will hit us and tell if we're still us, and they experiment with that around here because we're so close to Oak Ridge and everything and all of this. It is just insanity that they don't pick up on this. And while I'd love to try and do something really formal, really everything else to say, and then they probably had nightmares and pissed themselves at night, and their mother still breastfed them at 6. I'm just like, this is beyond more coordinated. This isn't something where some people push some people around, and I think a woman is behind it very much. It's basically the day and age of the woman, and I think that a man was there, but he was worried about it. And if the police went into the buildings or anything else, then they had been servants of like racist, can't be real, not with dogma Jesus. And they'd have gone with, Jesus's horrors that are all the homeless people out there that are from racist redneck South. And the most racist city in the entire world is one that is built off of country music. That is exactly where it is with everything. All the other nuts and bolts with it, and it's just that the guy would worry that he probably has a daughter or two, and they're homeless somewhere out there. And he doesn't know exactly where, but they would never really be there, but just in case. And since it's basically an abandoned part of Nashville, which there's a lot of them, it's there, and since it's gone and it looks like it's burned a lot and everything, it's just fertilizer. And in a way, it's purifying the area with holy fire. The person is religious, even though they would say they're not. And under a lot of it, I think it would be against religion, because religion starts with an R, and it's racism. And most of anything in the South, if it's looked at as racist, is that. And it's like, we're not like you all that have came here. And feigned racism. Feigned that you were in support of Breonna Taylor. You feigned that you were in support of Freddie Gray, and nothing happened. Feigned that you were in support of Ferguson. Feigned that you were in support of any one of the number of people that were shot at Kenosha. Feigned that you were in support of, and I'm really sorry I can't remember his name right now, up there, and everything in Minneapolis. Feigned that you were in support Philly and everything. And see, most of those areas are guaranteed above the Mason-Dixon line that runs at Maryland and Pennsylvania. He feels for religious people because he believes that they are conned. I think he knows something about how we can't really be destroyed by civil war. He's probably a very good scholar with the Constitution. He understands what there is with the 10th Amendment, and probably doesn't understand a whole lot of stuff to do with the why some Supreme Court rulings, which I'm going to do a thing on here. Thought it'd be good. Say that it's really just a reiteration of everything before and doesn't really mean anything. But he's probably someone who's very smart at all of it. Not because you can make a sophisticated bomb, plan things, or anything else. Technically, you don't. You do 6 months of anything out there, and you read 3 days a week for 2 hours. And time yourself, and even try and push yourself harder and faster and reading more of whatever you can do, whatever's there. You can change your behavior to do that. And then you just set off on a determined situation. It's not going to be with that of your regular everyday life. He's intelligent. He understands the nature of good and bad. He understands that there's that, and he looks at things that he is in war. He looks at it as that it is a civil war, as many people have been talking on there. And I don't think that he can really do it, but he does grasp at it. It'd be something else more, because this war is not going to be about race, if there is a civil war. It's going to be about religion. And people like Islam versus Christianity, and it's like, No, the state of the USA and whatever its constitutional religion is, or anything else of its founding, like the founding fathers saying that Christianity had nothing to do with the founding of this nation. And then what is racist Christianity, perceived into KKK and everything else, then whatever is, we're not really that, but we are, which is what he represents. Wielding the NIV Bible, probably. Something that is very American, that doesn't seem like it's anything from overseas, and it'll probably have inklings of Spanish Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxism, where women are looked at as more holy, higher up, even possibly Byzantium. But I'm just saying, this is an interesting thing, and I've been hearing locally that I need to get out of Knoxville. I need to stay in my house. It's going to be big. Whatever it is, it's going to be big. Don't ever go around here. It's going to be big. And I was just like, what do you mean? It's going to be big. Even after I watched this, there's 2 or 3 people that sent me a message with this kind of like hipster mosquito ring network that they got, which I'm older. I don't care. I know they said that my high school graduation was, I've been beaten up too much. Mosquito rings don't do good with me. Neither do any of the other things. And it's like, it's still big. So whatever it is in Nashville, it ain't talking. It ain't that. Whatever it is huge. And people have been saying, due to whatever it is, I'm an Arab now. And they have the right to come here and make whatever it is. The only people that I know that are people that were thrown out of Rome because they failed at this place or that place in the invasion of Italy after Naples. They failed with the defense of it. They were like socialite generals that didn't really hold a governmental post in Rome, but were part of the houses of Rome and were thrown out. I'm very well familiar with them. They've been in my face over and over. I've even gone out of my way just to try and like make sure nothing happens to them, because I'm like, nobody wants shit happening. And there's enough people here that are from all over the world, Africa, India, Southeast Asia, Japan, Germany, there's only a few of them left, Italy, Rome, whatever they want to call themselves, that are here. And there's local people that supported it and nearly made a civil war at that time. And the latest a year in Algiers. Conversation like that isn't an everyday thing, but it's like church service. There's generally 2 a week. And that's been the way it's been all my life. So, I mean, it's not as soon as they said Winnebago or anything, it wasn't that surprising to me. And it almost seems like it's too staged, and you have to have someone in a religious mindset to be taken in and used that way. And, you know, the only thing that comes to my mind here, summing this up at this moment, is A Time to Kill. It's made into a movie as an old book. And there was an informant who was actually a person there who did inform in a lot of things back in the 70s. And his little monogram tattoo made it into the book. Mickey Mouse. This guy's not Mickey Mouse. He has a purpose and everything else. He wasn't a founder or anything with it. His guilt is actually something that's measured and used for the benefit of everything. And if it was a guilty area, they just have to find out where the guilty area is. So they'll say the guilty area wasn't Nashville. Maybe they come to Knoxville next. Maybe they go to Atlanta. Maybe they go Tallahassee. Maybe they go north to Middlesboro. But it'll be another Old South Civil War target. Colin Dawson. Like and subscribe.